And welcome back. Staying on the topic of mental health at the workplace, companies in Singapore are stepping up their game when it comes to nurturing their employees' mental health through things like well-being retreats or complimentary spin and yoga sessions. In a city where the workplace can sometimes feel like a relentless 24/7 race, what are the signs that you might need a mental health break? And how can you tell if you're approaching a tipping point? Feeling like your motivation has hit a slump? It might be time to hit the reset button on your mental health. Elevated stress and anxiety can significantly impact your focus and performance. Taking a moment to pause, recharge and re-energize at work can be as simple as enjoying a coffee break, switching up tasks, or taking a short stroll. Now remember, even small breaks can make a big difference. If you feel yourself struggling more and more to concentrate at work, it may be mental exhaustion. It can cloud your thinking, making it tough to focus, and more boundaries may be needed. To push things along, start with unplugging from emails and social media during set times of each day. Are negative thoughts about work or your employer creeping in? Take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, are these thoughts true? Write down the facts to see if this is a recurring issue or just a passing feeling. Now, sometimes getting a fresh perspective from someone neutral can help you see things more clearly and navigate those cloudy thoughts. If you start having difficulty sleeping on a regular basis, a mental wellness day might be called for. Try to spend more time outside, taking a long walk, a swim, or riding a bike. Now, studies have shown that regular exposure to sunlight helps to elevate moods. And that push through the grind mentality can actually harm businesses, leading to low team morale, miscommunication, and ultimately more mistakes. A mental wellness day won't be a silver bullet, but it can help lift feelings of suffocation and set you back on the right path. And here to unpack hustle culture and how it impacts our mental health at the workplace is Theodoric Chew. He is co-founder and CEO of Intellect, a mental health startup. Mr. Chew, it's great to have you here with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
For a start, what are some of the key things that tend to affect our mental health at the workplace?
Sure. So, it's a great thing that we're covering this topic. It's a huge aspect that I think really affects a lot of people, right? We spend the majority of our lives actually in the workplace and at home as well, but a lot of it in the workplace. So when you think about what are the factors that impact mental health in the workplace, a couple of key things come to mind. The first thing is really the psychological safety and the workplace culture that is present in the workplace, right? Not only is it a place that people go to function and work, but it's where they have a lot of social interactions with. So it matters how the leaders and management actually sets the tone, sets the pace for how the culture actually is in the workforce. So that's a key thing. There's a lot to unpack within that, but fundamentally that's the first key thing. A second key aspect is around the support system, the access to care that's provided towards employees in the workplace. And that's a big thing that actually Intellect focuses on, providing preventative care through the crisis and acute care anytime, anywhere for employees. That's a key aspect that cannot be overlooked as well. And the last thing really comes down and boils down towards management training and manager training as well. I think as we hear quite often, not only is the workplace what is important, but the manager itself is what actually matters a lot. It's the manager that actually sets the tone for how employees feel, whether they like it or not. So there's a key thing, how do we upskill and train managers to do their part to take care of their employees?
You know, these things that you just mentioned would very likely be familiar to some of us here in Singapore, which is known for our hustle culture. Tell us, why is this bad for us? And is it even possible to break this socio-cultural norms in the name of ensuring better mental health for all of us?
Yeah, so this aspect of hustle culture is a big one. So earlier this year, Intellect's clinical team actually did a landscape Asia-wide study around the hustle culture in different countries in the region where we surveyed thousands of working adults on how it actually is like. So we saw quite, known facts and some interesting ones where, mental health in Asia, in the workplace, is needing some support. And particularly in Singapore, we saw some of the lowest mental health rates actually amongst the youth, amongst the young adults out there. And actually, when we looked at the results, a couple of key interesting stats actually came out. One of which is actually the one to actually do as well as the peers. That's a key thing that we have, that competitive stride that I think, lives in us, basically. That's the first thing. And another key aspect is also the one to better their livelihoods for themselves and their loved ones. So that's a key thing we see a lot in the hustle culture of wanting to do better, wanting to strive and, do better for themselves as well.
Okay, so we've been hearing about how companies are offering a range of mental health support initiatives, but your latest study found that although 9 in 10 companies communicate their support programs to staff, just about 5% of employees actually make use of these programs. Why is this the case?
Yeah, so this actually comes from the report we launched today, the ASEAN Workplace Wellbeing Report, where we actually interviewed, again, similarly across ASEAN countries, the state of well-being in the workplace. And what we found quite interesting is this. Again, Singapore, while it has some of the highest infrastructure in place there, we saw some of the lowest rates of mental health access, people reaching access to care, 5% as you point out. So I think it boils down to a couple of key things. One of the big factors when we look at the workplace, it's how do we actually implement care? There is, checkbox exercises to provide care that, ticks the box. And then there's actually care that actually aims to provide, the support that employees actually need. So there's a key thing that actually is there that we want to address, number one. Another key thing is actually the stigma and biases that people actually hold. So I think that's where a lot of the education comes in. How do we get management's buy-in to actually not just, talk, but also to walk the talk, to, share about their struggles, to provide care in a way that employees can feel open to them as well.
Okay, and another gap that your study found is that almost half of Singapore employers are hesitant to hire staff with mental health conditions. What are some of the reasons for this, you think? And do you think that it also sets back Singapore's national mental health strategy and the well-being strategy?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, if we take a step back, if we look pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, we must acknowledge the huge strides and progress we've made as a society in the world, but definitely in Singapore. At the end of last year, the Ministry of Health launched the National Mental Health Strategy, which is, I think, a great step forward. And we saw just a couple of weeks back, the Workplace Safety and Health Council actually launched the draft guidelines for, providing more support for people returning to the workplace due to mental health struggles. You're right in pointing out that there is, based on our studies and reports, still a hesitance from people wanting to rehire people with mental health needs. And I think that boils down towards a lack of education and understanding as to what it actually means, right? We saw a recent report, I think a couple of weeks back, by the Institute of Mental Health, where 1 in 3 youth and young adults actually have poor mental health. So that's very commonplace, right? So we can't go about avoiding this notion that people do not struggle with it, but they can get better. I think it needs more education, more literacy, and people actually accepting this fact.
All right, the work continues to improve our work culture. Mr. Chew, thank you very much for coming in tonight. That was Theodoric Chew, co-founder and CEO of Intellect, a mental health startup.